Check, check, check. I think you forgot to plug one of them in. That's why I couldn't hear you.
Check, check, check.
I got you 5x5.
Alright.
We're not going to need to prime, so we can just go ahead and clear prop.
Yeah. All clear!
Perfect.
Pretty loud. Okay. Start for 10 seconds.
And add a bit of power.
Nope.
Alright, and stop. And you could bring the masters off.
Masters?
Yes, turn them off. The master's back on, and we could just crank. There we go.
There we go.
And power back. Beautiful. That's exactly why we have one hand on the throttle typically. Good.
Alright. 1000 RPM check.
Set.
Oils both green.
Good.
So start checklist completed.
Good.
Retract flaps in stages. 30. 20. 10.
Good.
And flaps retracted.
Check.
Avionics master switch on. We don't have one. Radios on.
Radios on. Discretion Alpha Double Charlie CRC 10-436.
Transponder and standby.
Good.
Standby check. Primer lock. Primer is locked.
Good.
Check alternator. So alternator.
Light discharge.
Light discharge.
We're golden.
We're good. Circuit breakers. They're all pushed in. RP check. So for RP check, pull the RP. Get a little bit of a drop.
Good. And there we go, a little bit of a rise. Good.
Yep. Check brakes. Brakes work fine.
Alright, I have control for a second. Just a little tip. How I like to do the brake check is very similar to taxiing. So I add power to keep us going, then bring it to idle, and then gradually bring the brakes.
And
just so we're not too hard with the brakes, and it's good practice for when we taxi too. Alright, you have control.
I have control. Instrument taxi check, we'll do it away.
Okay.
Taxiing done at 1000.
Check, 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 check.
1000 RPM.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take my sunglasses off for time.
Sounds good.
Right now. Okay, so we're gonna go on the ATIS.
Yep.
So ATIS frequency is I don't remember.
Surprise, surprise, I said it for you. It's on standby right here. So 21.15 is the ATIS.
Yeah. I know I should remember it by now, but
So I'm going to see if we have one of these cheat sheets for you. I've had this ever since I was a student pilot, and it's got all the necessary frequencies we need, and it also has a map of the airport, which is nice.
Jazz.
awesome.
Inform ATC that you have information India. Ottawa International, information India, weather at 2300 Zulu, wind 070 at 8, visibility 15, sky clear, temperature 18, dew point -4, altimeter 3017. IFR, approach, RNAV, Zulu or Yankee, runway 07, inform arrival of requested approach. Landing and departing, runway 07 and 04. Glider activity in Pendleton area. Inform ATC that you have information India.
I'll take control for 1 second here.
Ottawa International, information.
I'm just going to move us over a tiny bit here just so they could bring the plane in.
Zulu,
okay.
Wind 070 at 8, visibility 15, sky clear, temperature 18, dew point -4, altimeter 3017. IFR, approach.
Alright, you have control.
Zulu.
I have control.
Yankee, runway 0.
Here, I got the brakes then.
Inform arrival of requested
Perfect.
approach.
Okay, perfect. Your controls.
Landing.
Alright, so we have enough the information we need.
Okay.
I'm just gonna so altimeter is 3017,
That's right. That's what I got.
which is already set.
Hasn't really been dropping or increasing
Yeah.
the past hour.
And wind is 070 at 8.
Good. So where are we going to get the crosswind based off the ADAs without looking at the windsock?
We're gonna use runway 04.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna the Ottawa terminal or clearance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where are we going to get the crosswind? Is it coming from our right or our left side based off the current winds we have?
So it's blowing at so it's coming from the right side.
Exactly. It's coming from 070.
Yeah.
So
So it's 30 degrees.
exactly.
Okay. So Ottawa Tower is this?
That's Ottawa Tower. That's right.
Okay, perfect.
But we're going to want to call clearance, which
Yeah.
is 19.4. And it's just, we got information, so who you're calling, who we are, the information we have, and what we want to do.
All right. So I just practiced it with you.
Yeah,
before.
absolutely.
So it's going to be Ottawa clearance. This is Cessna Golf Quebec November Foxtrot, requesting circuits with information.
That's it.
Ottawa clearance, Cessna Golf Quebec November Foxtrot, requesting circuits with information India.
Beautiful. I feel like last time they made us wait a minute too.
Golf Quebec November Foxtrot, Ottawa clearance, squawk 6635, runway 04, altimeter 3018. On this frequency, taxi out via Papa, and contact me on tower 1201, holding short ready.
Which taxi?
Papa.
Okay, go ahead.
And squawk 6635, taxi Papa, and we'll contact tower short of 04 and 20.1, Quebec November Foxtrot.
So I just forgot, I noted the runway 04, but I didn't notice the...
If it was Papa or Tango. So, you don't have to read the taxi instructions back as VFR pilots. We only have to read back the...
Squawk.
We just have to say our call sign. The only thing we read back is our call sign and any hold short instructions.
Yeah.
But it's good practice to read everything back exactly in this situation where you didn't get the taxiway, for example.
Yeah.
So you don't want to just read back your call sign if you didn't really understand what the clearance was for. But you got everything else, which is good. He's talking really quickly because your initial radio call was really well.
Yeah.
So he probably assumed that you're a really experienced pilot based off that.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to start taxiing.
Yeah, and we'll do the taxi checks along the way.
Actually, I just noticed that we forgot something with the instruments, which was the
Good call.
our heading, so it's... we are at 2... no, we're at 180. 190.
Yes.
190 now.
Good.
And where do we go for the engine run-up test?
I'll show you, and you'll see why I don't really like using runway 04. The run-up bay is really, really skinny. So we're just going going to follow that yellow line in all the way there, and it's going to eventually bring us parallel to the runway. So, where are the winds coming from right now? Even though they're light?
It's coming from that direction.
Good.
From the right side.
So I'll have the crosswind inputs in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's 5 knots or 50 knots. We should, it's always good practice to have those crosswind inputs in. So if it's coming from ahead, we have it into the wind. If it's coming from anywhere behind us, it's opposite of the wind and forward.
Yeah.
Good. Now, do you remember what I told you in terms of how we know we're nice and lined up with the center line for the runway or for the taxiway, for example?
So basically, I should see like right coming to my chest.
Pretty much your chest or your inside leg. So in your case, the right leg kind of coming in right leg towards your chest. That's when you know that you're pretty much nice and lined up. So the run-up bay is right here. Since it's our first time, I think I will kind of position ourselves because you're going to see that there's no one coming. Never mind. It's all good. So you could swing a 180 around here. Point us into the wind.
Look at that massive
bug. Oh wow, yeah, I just saw that. So you see why I don't like this run-up bay.
Yeah, it's pretty narrow. If somebody's coming and they're blocking each other.
So normally what I would do for the run-up bay is I'd bring us as close as we can to the grass and do a really, really sharp turn with holding the brake. In our situation, we don't have anyone coming, but we would want to at least try to give them as much room to taxi by as possible.
Okay.
Alright.
Alright, so run-up checklist. Nose wheel.
So,
straight.
Before we hop into the run-up checklist, we forgot to do one thing during our taxi. What was that?
Oh, we didn't check the instrument.
Exactly. So we could do that along the way. I'll just make note of that just to make sure we don't forget it on our taxi out. But we could go ahead with the run-up checklist.
All right. Nose wheel straight. Nose wheel is straight. Brake set at 1000 RPM. Okay. Field selector on. Make sure fully rich.
Good.
Prop blast area clear.
Yep.
Seems clear. 1700 RPM. Oil, pressure and temperature gauges, they're both green.
Good.
Mag check. Mag on left. Get a little bit of a drop. Mag back on both. Engine back on. Mag on right. Get a little bit of a drop. Back on both. And we get it back. Check the suction unit. Suction on this point is here.
Good.
It's a little bit like close to the edge of the lower band of the green, but I think it's okay, right?
Yep. We're still technically in the green.
Alright, ammeter load check.
Challenger 17 at the CRC taxi MOT.
All the lights on.
Challenger 17 is free to come out.
No red lights.
Good.
Not much green. Flaps back up.
Charlie Alpha. Hey, Challenger 17, taxi Double Charlie Alpha, apron your discretion, and then via Bravo to MOT.
Alright, lean mixture check.
Apron your discretion, Bravo MRT, Challenger 17.
Mixture check completed. Carb heat on hot. Pull the carb heat.
Alright, so now that we have 20 seconds here, did I ask you about if we do the mag check and we notice a pretty large drop in the RPM, what that might be a cause for, or what might cause that, or what might be a cause?
That potentially could be that like our batteries are not doing well.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the batteries.
Then I don't know the answer.
So, when we do the mag check, we're checking to see how each magneto is working individually. If one has a slightly higher drop of, let's say 250 RPM, it might be an indication of spark plug fouling. So it's telling us that, okay, the spark plugs are dirty with all the carbon deposits. So right off the bat, that's not necessarily a snag. We could do everything we can to warm up the engine to burn it off. And what I would do is I would keep it on the mag and lean the mixture just until I get a little bit of a rise in the RPM. Keep it on for 2-3 minutes, and then mixture back to rich and retry the mag check. If I retry it and it's fine, we go flying. If I retry it and the RPM drops still, we just snag the plane and go back home.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, good. So we can continue with the checklist.
Idle throttle.
Good.
1,000 RPM. Down 1,000 RPM. And carb heat on cold.
Good.
Back up and run up checklist completed.
Good. Run up checklist complete.
Pre-takeoff checklist. 1,000 RPM. 1,000 RPM.
Good.
Door seats, harnesses secure.
I'll close my door once we're on the runway.
All right, good. Fuel selector on. Mixture fully rich. Throttle friction lock set. That's pretty good.
Good.
Carb heat on cold. It's pushed in, so it's on cold. Mags on both. Check. Controls free and correct. Controls move fine. Controls checked. Trim set. Trim set for takeoff. Flaps set. Flaps are up.
Good.
Electrics as required. We don't have electric stuff. Landing light on. Landing light on. Radio set.
Oh, we got tower on standby. We're good.
Yeah. Navigates test and set.
Don't need that.
Gyro instrument set. So we are pointing at so it should be 85.
Yep, and that's about what we're pointing at right now.
85, yeah. Takeoff briefing.
Good. So I'll take control, just so I could get us out of here, and you could give me the takeoff brief. It should be right behind that page.
Okay, so we are departing of runway 04, rotating at 55 knots.
That's right.
Climb is straight ahead at around 65 knots, which is best rate.
Good.
Until we get to 1,200 feet.
So in this situation, once we're up to 900 feet, which is 500 feet above ground level, we could start that left crosswind turn.
Alright, so at 900 feet, turn to the crosswind. Then we get up all the way to 1,500 feet.
Good.
Until after that we will turn to downwind. The go, no-go point is from this runway. I assume it's the same as the other one.
We'll say windsock, because it's a bit further down, yep.
Okay, so if things are not normal before windsock, we reject the takeoff.
Good.
Otherwise, we keep flying. Winds are at 70 at 8 knots.
Yep.
And we have a little bit of a crosswind. We didn't calculate it, but not very much. In the event of system failure during takeoff, you have control. So you do the throttle idle, brakes, flaps up, radio call, shut down if required.
Good.
In the event of engine failure after takeoff, you have control. And
I'll pick a field within 30 degrees of our present heading. I'll review the emergency procedures here because I would take control for that. And engine failure above circuit altitude, I'll try to land back on 1-4 here, or whichever runway is closest to us.
1-4?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's just the closest one, and light winds, yep.
Okay, in the event of engine failure above circuit height, you have control. We may attempt landing back on the runway.
Good. All right. Any questions?
No.
All right.
So, did we check the instruments?
Oh, I checked them as we were taxiing. I just didn't say it out loud.
Okay.
So, we could go ahead and finish the checklist here.
Alright, so passenger safety review, we don't need that. ETA for first destination, that time off for takeoff. Transponder on alt.
Good.
Taxi to hold short of runway.
Perfect.
We're holding short of runway 04. And radio tower.
Perfect, and I put you on tower, and good job remembering the instrument taxi check.
Yep.
Good, so your controls? And yeah, you can make the call when you're ready.
This is tower right
That's
now?
tower,
Okay,
that's right.
120.1. So we're gonna say Ottawa Tower, this is Quebec November Foxtrot, holding short of runway 04, ready for takeoff.
That's right.
Ottawa Tower, this is Quebec November Foxtrot, holding short of runway 04, ready for takeoff.
Golf Quebec November Foxtrot, Ottawa Tower, make left circuits north of the approach 7 at all times, clear takeoff, runway 04.
Clear for takeoff, runway 04, Quebec November Foxtrot.
Beautiful.
Alright, so, do a quick check here usually.
Good call.
I noticed you already parked a little bit there, so I don't see any planes.
Good.
I'll just keep going.
Yeah, that's good practice, even at a control zone to double check, kind of angle yourself to make sure no one's on their way in. The winds are coming in from our right, so we could switch it over. Perfect.
Alright, so full power.
Good.
RPM is alive.
Check.
Engine gauges are green.
Good.
Airspeed is alive.
Good.
55 knots.
Good.
And we are rotating.
Beautiful. Yeah, good takeoff.
Wow, there's almost no wind.
It's difference is day and night today.
Yeah. Okay, positive rate.
Good.
We're at about 600 feet.
Good. And once we approach 900 feet, we could turn left crosswind here. There's no real noise abatement procedure for 04.
Yep.
There are too many houses around here anyways.
Wow, I have never felt the controls that smooth.
Yeah.
Even on my flight simulator.
It's one of the, it's a lot different than it was earlier today.
Alright, we're at 900 feet, so we're going to turn to crosswind.
Good.
So, visually, where are we pointing to when we are turning left to the
Good
crosswind?
reference is pretty much paralleling Mooney's Bay, or pointing pretty close to Mooney's Bay.
Alright.
Then by the time we turn downwind, we don't have to be exactly at 1,500 feet. We still want to be fairly close to the runway, so I'd say right about here would be a good time to begin that turn to downwind as we're over Mooney's Bay.
Red 2, ground.
Ground Red 2 is Kilo Short Alpha, routing to main apron.
Red 2, ground, proceed to Alpha.
I don't see the, oh, I see the trail.
Good.
The train trail now.
And that brings us almost parallel to the runway. Not quite, but it's a good reference.
Yeah. Alright, so we can go ahead and do the downwind check.
Good.
Fuel selector on, make sure fully rich. Carb heat, hot.
Good.
Engine gauge is green. Mags in both. And prime is locked. My brakes functioning well.
Perfect.
I can feel it. So we can go ahead and call for the tower.
Exactly.
So I'm going to say Ottawa Tower, this is Quebec November Foxtrot. We are in downwind of runway 04.
That's it.
You too, good night.
Ottawa Tower, Quebec November Foxtrot, on downwind for runway 04.
Quebec November Foxtrot Tower, clear touch and go runway 04.
Clear for touch and go runway 04, Quebec November Foxtrot. So, you can maybe help me with the...
Exactly, I will. So, right after, normally halfway between Maryville and Woodruff is where I'd pull the power. So, actually right around here is a good typical reference point to bring the power back. And we're going to keep that nose up as we start the turn to bring ourselves down to the approach speed. And we can begin that turn to base too. Perfect.
Which is around 65 now.
65 is perfect. There you go. Didn't forget about that trim. And at this point, we're going to point ourselves right towards Ottawa Tower.
Okay.
And keep that turn going in, pointing towards Ottawa Tower with the tip of our spinner.
Nicely trimmed. So adding a little bit of power.
Okay.
Very tiny.
And at this point, this is exactly where we could start setting ourselves up for that final here.
Alright.
And I want you to focus on the threshold. That's going to be our aiming point. Airspeed's good. How are we looking here?
Looking good. We are a little bit to the left, so I'm going to try to adjust for that.
Good.
Have a little bit of crosswind, so I can for sure.
.600 feet, how are we?
We're stable.
Good. Continue.
So rotate.
And at 55 we could rotate.
Yeah.
Alright, so we didn't use...
I knew the flaps are up, that's why I didn't bring it first. But.
Okay, so how I'd like to treat this landing is regardless if we use flaps or not, first thing, hands go for the flaps.
Yeah.
I've had too many times where students, you know, they're used to doing no flap approach, no flap approach, no flap approach. They use flaps one time, and they add that full power before. So that's why I just want it to become second nature, and flaps up, full power, carb cold, even if you know for a fact your flaps at 0.
Yeah.
Like I said, because as humans, that's how we learn. If we, by repetition, it becomes a habit. And I want to make sure that that's the habit, just so there's no confusion when I'll get you to be doing, you know, full flap landings, for example. Full flaps, hot summer day, EVJ, you add full power, you're not going to clear the trees at the end of 04.
Yeah.
So it's all for safety and all to become nice and proficient.
So we are at 900 feet, I'm going to start turning to crosswind.
Good.
You're touching my mixture.
Yeah, I was just leaning it out a tiny bit here.
Yeah. Okay. Joking with you. I'm getting to the point that I'm not too stressed. I can make jokes.
Good, good. I can tell with your radio calls too. Things are looking good. that constant climb going, please, at least 70. So, with me, like I said, I never like to let my students get comfortable, so expect the unexpected.
Okay.
And right now I'm just gauging how you treat all the procedures and everything here.
Alright, so I can start turning to the downwind.
Good, and maintain 70 for the climb at least. You're going to see I'm going to get really nitpicky as we progress with circuits. Want to make sure everything's perfect.
Alright, so we're on downwind right now.
Good.
Gonna do the 7-up check. Fuel selector on, make sure fully rich.
Good.
Carpeet hot.
Good.
Mags on both. Prime is locked. And engine gauges are green.
Check.
My brakes are working fine.
Good.
So I'm gonna do the radio call.
Alright.
Ottawa Tower, this is Quebec November Foxtrot on downwind for runway 04, second touch and go.
Quebec November Foxtrot, clear touch to go runway 04.
Cleared for touch and go runway 04, Quebec November Foxtrot.
Don't have to specify second touch and go.
Yeah.
It's all good. You just
I just don't want to like be repetitive, you know, saying the same thing over and over. Just get used to like
that's fair.
the dynamic.
Now, good thing with the, well, you kind of saw me pulling the mixture a tiny bit on you, but I like to normally do that. That's why I'm like expect the unexpected to make sure that we are fully going through the downwind checks here.
Yeah. So I think we are getting close to our time to turn to the base.
Alright.
Pull the power. Start my turn to base. I can tell it's much easier when it's not gusty.
That's right. Alright, now that we're starting the descent, we'll focus on this approach here.
I'm pointing towards the tower right now.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
65 knots.
Good.
And I'm descending at around 450, 500 feet per minute.
Good. So descent rate doesn't matter too much. It's all based off of our aiming point and if it's moving up or down on the dash.
Yep.
The main instrument we're looking for is the airspeed and every now and then the altimeter. Best way of seeing what to do is by looking at the runway. So again, we'll be aiming for that threshold here.
Yep.
We got that touch and go clearance, right?
Yep.
Okay. That's...
Increasing airspeed. I'm going to add a little bit of flaps. They're stable.
Rotate.
Positive rate.
Okay.
Flaps up.
Alright, so I'll take control for a second.
You have control.
I have control. So at what altitude did you call stable on that approach?
I was a bit lower.
Yeah, that's right. So, we added flaps all the way down to about 400 feet above ground level. Now, we normally have that call out altitude at 600 feet, which is 200 feet above ground level. Do you think it's a good idea? So if we have to add flaps and we're below the 600 feet, do you think we are really that stable or not?
No, it's not a good idea to
exactly.
have flaps at that low. Yeah.
So typically with 600 feet, that's my cutoff in terms of any aircraft configuration. If I need to make a drastic power adjustment or drastic power reduction, or I need to add flaps to make the runway and I'm approaching 600 feet, at that point I'd be more inclined to considering an overshoot. So the initial base turn was perfectly done. But we were just a bit high on final. That's just because you're a bit slow to reduce the power down to idle. So I would have probably reduced the power down to idle maybe 15 seconds before you did.
Yeah.
So just remember, when we approach 600 feet, at this point we should be at a point where we don't have to make any drastic changes with aircraft configuration, aircraft power, or aircraft pitch. And 600 feet is our kind of our last chance to be like, okay, this is what we're changing to make ourselves stable. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Totally makes sense.
Your controls.
I have controls. So we are at 1,200 feet, and we are still climbing. It's good.
All right. And we'll try to make this one a 20-degree flap approach.
All right. Let's start turn to downwind.
All right. And my advice to you, like I said, is expect the unexpected, okay?
Alright.
You can do the downwind checks, I'll make the radio call for this one, okay?
Alright.
And Tower, Golf Quebec November Foxtrot, left downwind 04, and we're going to be looking for the option.
Quebec November Foxtrot Tower, cleared for the option, runway 04.
Clear for the option 04, Quebec November Foxtrot.
You mentioned clear for option. What does it mean?
It means either a full stop landing, touch and go. It gives us a bit of leeway.
Okay.
So, are the downwind checks complete?
Yeah, downwind checks completed.
Are you sure about that?
Oh no, the car beep.
So let's redo the downwind checks from the beginning to make sure we haven't
Fuel
missed
selector
anything.
on. Make sure fully rich. Carpet on hot.
Good.
Mags on both. Prime box. Engine gauge is green.
Beautiful. So what I like about your downwind checks is that you're verbal about it. Now I feel like you forgot the carpet because I was in the middle of making a call. But I suggest definitely, even when you fly solo, read the checklist out loud. There's no shame in doing that. I still do it.
Yeah, of course.
Or memory items out loud.
Okay, so I'm gonna start turning to base.
Okay.
At this point, pulling the power, aiming for 65 knots. Pointing to the tower.
Good. Alright, and when do you think would be an acceptable time to bring down the flaps to 20?
Now I think we are getting closer, so it's a good time to start. Pushing down on the
Perfect.
trim. So I'm gonna add a little bit of tiny power, so.
I think we're on the slightly higher side here, actually. There we go. Okay. And Fox on the runway, go around. Go around.
around.
Good. And keep on pitching up for the climb. And Terra Golf Quebec November Foxtrot in the overshoot runway 04.
Roger.
All right, so you're a few milliseconds late with the overshoot procedure, but the overshoot procedure was good. Was that because you didn't hear me initially, or were you trying to be 100% sure that you're doing the right overshoot procedure?
No, it was because you mentioned there's a fox on the runway.
Yep.
I was actually looking for a fox.
So instead of looking for the fox,
Yeah.
if an instructor calls overshoot, or if you deem an overshoot necessary because something crazy is happening, focus on flying the plane. Aviate, navigate, communicate.
Yeah.
Do the procedure. Because like I said, the overshoot procedure was well done. Don't forget to bring the flaps up in stages, so 20 to 10, not straight up to 0.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was full power, carb called, you pitched for climb, and brought the flaps up, so that was well done. And we can actually turn here because we're quite high. But don't let there be any distractions. We could look out for the fox once we're over the runway. But focus on flying the plane, so be a bit quicker with the overshoot procedure.
Okay.
Good evening, Clearance Bravo Romeo Oscar at the club with information India, requesting tax area 3,500 please.
South Bravo Romeo Oscar, Ottawa clearance, hello. Altimeter 3019, and it'll be runway 04, your squawk code 6646, status frequency.
Airspeed, we want to maintain it at 70 for the climb.
Yeah, but I was trying to...
when you're ready.
I was trying to level off, that's probably why.
That's fair. I did notice throughout the upwind we were still closer to about 80 though. So we'll try to work a bit on precision for airspeed. Like I said, as we improve, I'm going to be more and more nitpicky to make sure everything is right up to standards.
Yep, I'm turning to downwind now.
Perfect, good. And for this one, I'm going to want you to set yourself up for a full flap approach.
All right.
So full flaps is really going to bring that nose down, so I want you to anticipate that. Bring the flaps when you're a bit closer to the runway, and fly a slightly higher approach than you normally would, just so when you bring that full flaps, you're going to be pointing exactly towards the runway.
All right. So we're going to do the 7-up check. Fuel selector on, mag mixture fully rich, carpet hot. Mags on both, prime is locked, engine gauge is green.
Alright.
Brakes are functioning. So, okay, just a quick question. Let's say the engine gauges are not green.
Yes.
What should I do?
Land immediately. That's an emergency, especially if we have high oil temperature, low oil pressure. That's an engine failure that can happen 30 minutes from now or 30 seconds from now. We do not know.
Does it matter if I do a power off landing?
I would, yes, definitely reduce. I think I would reduce the power, but also avoid any drastic power changes.
All right, I'm just going to make the radio call.
Okay, good.
Quebec November Foxtrot number 1, runway 04, intention.
I got the call.
Quebec November Foxtrot.
And we'd just like to make it a touch and go here, Quebec November Foxtrot.
Roger, left hand circuit, 10904, clear touch go runway 04.
Clear touch and go 04, Quebec November Foxtrot.
Okay.
So we'll talk a bit more about emergency procedures once we're on the ground. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to start turning here, pulling back the power. As we are doing full flaps landing or touch and go, I think I'm going to do the flaps earlier.
Flaps earlier, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to like do it like a little bit earlier, like in the stages.
Okay.
So that gives us a little bit of a more stable approach. Give me time to adjust my pitch.
Sounds good. And we'll see how the aircraft performance changes based off these flaps and based off of when we bring the flaps down.
I think it's a good idea if I go flaps 10 now.
Your call.
All right, I'll go for flaps 10 now because it's not going to be a big drop for us. gonna start all the flaps when we turn to final, which is getting close. So I'm gonna do flaps 20 now. Flaps. I'm gonna bring flaps to 30. 30.
Airspeed.
And I'm gonna bring flaps to 40.
Really bring that nose down more. Keep that nose down. There you go. See that? The image looks a lot different now.
Yeah. Need actually power to keep that airspeed.
Good. 600 feet. How we looking?
They're stable.
Good.
Flaps going up.
Check.
Full power. And 55 knot check. Take off.
Good.
I feel I'm gonna get like, I'm ready to get something from you.
And keep that climb going, please, at 70. See how close we are to the trees now?
Yeah.
That's exactly why we, on a hot summer day, I'm more inclined to saying a VX for the climb rate, so even closer to about 60 knots, 56 I think, based off the POH for a 150. I've been jumping back and forth between planes a lot today.
Yeah.
But overall, good. Now, I want to see what you feel about using the full flaps approach. How did that change your view? How did that change the way the plane feels?
So, the two things that I noticed is that, of course, I'm pitched down quite a lot.
Good.
And I had to trim down a little bit the plane. Also, I noticed that I need to add some power, actually.
That's right. You're going to really be dragging the power in using full flaps,
yeah.
Especially if you're at a nice glide and the plane is nice and established for a nice approach, and you reconfigure the aircraft with full flaps all of a sudden, it's drastically going to change the way things look.
Yeah.
Now, overall, good. Like the way you brought the flaps down was good. The increments were pretty acceptable. The approach itself was pretty well done. Only thing, airspeed. So I saw you focusing quite a bit on the increments of how you're bringing the flaps down. We don't even need to look at this. 3 seconds for each 10 degree. Only thing we should really be focusing on is the airspeed and the way the approach is looking.
Yeah.
Right? Because by looking outside, we could judge how much power to add, and by looking at the airspeed, we could judge how much pitch to increase or decrease, because we got down to about 55 knots,
yeah.
Which is a bit below my comfort level in terms of flying in a circuit. But it creates a lot of drag, right? You feel that plane pretty much being starved of that thrust because of all the drag we're creating by the flaps. So that's exactly why I wanted you to try full flap approach, to see how it's important when we set ourselves up for landing to be proactive. If we know that we're going to be using full flaps, how to change the approach based off that. If we know that we're going to use 20 flaps, how to gauge the approach based off that too. But overall, good stuff. Now, when you touch down, are you keeping your heels on the rudders by any chance? Like heels on the ground? Or are they typically up top while you're flying?
I really I really try to focus not to brake.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the touchdown. I'm aware of that.
Yeah, because
I think my feet is a little bit not like touching the floor.
So I have control.
You have control.
I don't know if you can see my feet from here, but you just keep your heels on the ground. That's all you need. The only time you're gonna bring the feet up is when you're at power idle, on the ground, ready to gradually begin braking.
Bravo, may I ask your contact Ottawa Terminal 1277?
Alright, so we do the downwind check.
You can do the downwind checks now.
Fuel selector on. Make sure red.
Bravo, may I ask your contact Ottawa Terminal 1277?
Good.
Engine gauge is green. Prime is locked. Mags on both.
I will demonstrate a PFL in just a second.
Bravo Romeo Oscar Tower, how do you read?
I was just flying Bravo Romeo Oscar, so I didn't know if...
Quebec November Foxtrot Tower, how do you read?
I got you 5x5, Quebec November Foxtrot.
Roger, thanks. Bravo Romeo Oscar, Ottawa Tower, how do you read?
Bravo Romeo Oscar, radio's a little bit bad. Since I got it right now, I'm going to turn back and make a full stop for the airport.
Bravo Romeo Oscar, Roger, make a left turn, join the left downwind, you'll be in number 2.
Left downwind for number 2, 04.
The house on fire? Looks like smoke coming out.
Huh.
In Gulf Quebec November Foxtrot, late downwind turning base here. We'd like to request the PFL.
Quebec November Foxtrot, that's approved. You're looking for a touch and go?
Affirm, touch and go PFL, Quebec November Foxtrot.
Quebec November Foxtrot, Roger, left-hand circuit, cleared, touch and go, runway 04, PFL approved.
Clear touch and go 04 with the PFL, Quebec November Foxtrot, thanks. Good, so, I failed the...
circuit.
What's that?
He said right-hand circuit.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Bravo Oscar, you're number 2, you're traffic, left base, Cessna 1000.
Immediately now that I filled the engine, I'm pitching for best glide of about 60, and I'm trying to keep it nice and tight towards the runway, so typically I'm going to be approaching a bit higher here.
Yeah.
And Tower, sir, it's been a long day for Quebec November Foxtrot. Was that right-hand circuits or left-hand for 04?
No left-hand circuit for Quebec November Foxtrot.
Okay, perfect. Left-hand circuits, Quebec November Foxtrot. Good, so we only begin, so right now I'm a bit fast, so I'm going to keep that nose up, but we're also a bit high. So I'm going to bring my flaps down to 20 right off the bat.
Tower for Bravo Romeo Oscar, we're making a U-turn back to 04.
And I could bring my flaps down to full at this point.
Way too high.
Exactly, but look at this, I'm at low, idle power, flaps full, maintaining about 65, still a bit high. So I could add a little bit of a forward slip.
Already on the left downwind for runway
600
04.
feet.
You can just fly the downwind and make your turn to base when it suits you. You're number 1 now.
Bravo, Oscar, thanks.
Maintaining center line. There we go. Flaps up, full power, curve cold. And 55 knots. Rotate. And I'll be pitching at VX here just until we clear those trees. So the biggest thing is airspeed control. If we pitch for 60 knots on approach.
Quebec November Fox, I'll get you to fly runway heading for just for a little bit. I'll call the turn to crosswind.
Okay, we'll continue flying runway heading and we'll wait for the call. Quebec November Foxtrot. So by pitching for 60 knots, it assures that we are able to glide the longest distance possible in the given conditions. So with the PFL, it's immediately, we don't really have...
Bravo Romeo Oscar, wind 140 at 6, clear to land, runway 04.
Bravo Romeo Oscar, confirming we're clear to go for 04.
Clear to land, runway 04.
Clear to land 04, Bravo Romeo Oscar.
Quebec November Foxtrot, you can resume the circuit now.
Quebec November Foxtrot, thanks. So, sorry, airspeed. By pitching for 60, it assures that we could glide for the longest distance possible. Bring the flaps down in stages, so even if you look a bit high, you don't want to immediately dump those 40-degree flaps because you saw that nose-down angle, right? It's really easy for us to fall under the impression that, oh, we are a bit high, I'll dump full flaps and fix it, and oh shit, we dumped the full flaps and now we're screwed. Yeah. So I'll get you to practice a PFL and I'll walk you through it. I don't expect anything spectacular just because we haven't formally briefed on it on the ground, but I've been pretty happy with your circuit so far, so like I said, I want to keep giving and keep on making you learn here. So when you're ready, you could go ahead and take control.
I have control.
Your controls, and we'll keep on flying that normal circuit. On the downwind, I'll make the request for the PFL here. We will be requesting, I'll be doing a stop and backtrack. So we're going to come to a full stop, just so you can kind of get used to gliding the plane to the field and not having to worry about, you know, too much here.
Turn to downwind.
Good. So normally I pull the power back when, well, the instructor or not examiner, but the supervising flight instructor is going to pull the power back for you, and we normally like to give it to you around 45 degrees past the runway threshold, and you want to keep a nice kind of continuous turn towards the runway. You don't want to fly away too far.
Yeah. When we pass the runway threshold?
When we pass, yeah, 04, that's when I'm going to go ahead and pull the power back for you.
Okay. And I got to just try to survive.
What's that?
And I got to try to survive.
Exactly. Do your best. If you pitch for 60 and fly a nice approach, you will survive.
Quebec and November Foxtrot, number 1, runway 04.
Check number 104, Quebec November Foxtrot, and we'd like another PFL, this one with the backtrack.
Quebec November Foxtrot, roger.
He's taking a sweet time to taxi off the runway, that. Alright.
Bravo, Romeo Oscar, we're taxiing on Tango.
Bravo, Romeo Oscar, exit Tango, taxi in, lay Tango, monitor Ottawa ground, 1219 on the way in.
And downwind checks before I do this, please.
Fuel selector on, mixture fully rich, carpet on hot, engine gauge is green, max on both.
Quebec November Foxtrot, PFL approved.
Really
runway 04, backtrack, line up and advise ready.
PFL approved, and we're cleared to land runway 04, and we'll give you guys a call once we're lined up, Quebec November Foxtrot.
So I'm pitching for 5.
Good. Pitch for 60, sorry. I should have clarified that.
For 60?
60 is the best glide speed, yep.
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit too high.
Okay.
I'm gonna start adding flaps to 20. Now I'm way too high, so I'm gonna down to 30. Good. All the way down to 40. .600 feet, we are
good.
Kind of stable.
Yeah, we're looking good. And we could come to a full stop here.
Oh, here or next one?
No, we'll come to a full stop and we're just going to taxi over around the runway. So I'll take control for now.
You have control.
I have control just so I could debrief you. Really nice approach. Really nice approach. Everything was really well done. The way you judged the glide and, you know, kind of decided now's the point to add 20 flaps. Okay, things are still not looking good. I'll add the full flaps. Perfect call. I would have done that too. The only thing with the flare, I'm noticing two things. We're flaring a bit more flat than I'd like, and also there's a bit of kind of kicking the rudders left and right. So we're going to be nice and alive with the rudders, but we want to be looking at that center line. And if we see the nose drift off to the left, it's just a tiny bit of right rudder to bring ourselves back over, and then whatever rudder inputs to maintain that. Vice versa, we're drifting to the right, just a bit of left rudder, maintain that. So flares could use a tiny bit of work.
Yeah.
And a little bit of rudder coordination, but that was a really nice first PFL. Really good job. Airspeed control was really good too. We were maybe 4 knots fast at some point, but that's it. So I feel like you're getting pretty comfortable with seeing different flap configurations and how that affects the aircraft's performance. So what we could do is, I think we could do one more circuit and then call it a night here.
Yep.
And yeah, we could taxi all the way. You have control.
I have control.
And just kind of do a little teardrop around. But good job.
Yeah, I think I'm just like kind of getting used to like different flap pitching for different flap. That's probably why it's affecting my my there as well.
Yep.
Because like when you go full flap, you're like pretty pitched.
Whatever's in front of you,
yeah,
below you is what you're pointing at. So I'll come to a full stop here. And Tower told us to give them a call once we're ready to go. So
right.
It's a good opportunity to just double check, make sure we're nicely trimmed out, flaps are up. Good. So we could give them a quick call here.
Ottawa Tower, Quebec November Foxtrot, ready for takeoff runway 04.
Quebec November Foxtrot, left-hand circuit, cleared takeoff runway 04.
Clear for takeoff runway 04, Quebec November Foxtrot.
Power.
Good.
RPM is good, engine gauge is green.
Check.
Airspeed is coming alive.
Good.
55 knots, and rotate. And I'm aiming for 65 to pass the trees.
Good. You could even aim for 60, that's closer to our VX here.
Yeah.
Not much to say. Takeoff was again really well done. Only little comment is instead of when we're doing the checks on the takeoff, instead of going here, 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 we should be going here, eyes outside, here, eyes outside, there, eyes outside, just to make sure on a 1 year day things change quickly and just making sure that we're maintaining that center line. And
okay.
That's why with the airlines, for example, you have pilot flying, pilot monitoring, right? Because it's difficult to be looking at all these gauges all at the same time as you're trying to coordinate. But obviously in a C150, it's not required for 2 crew, so it's good practice to focus on what's going on outside and confirming that everything's good step by step. Again, that's just me giving you a little bit of advice because everything else with the takeoff there was really well done.
Perfect, so I'm turning to the crosswind now.
Good. Airspeed control on the climb out is a lot better now too. Happy with that.
Yeah. I noticed that we don't really do lookouts during the circuits here much. I think it's probably because we are in a controlled airspace, I guess. Unless we are told that like we're number 2 or number 3 or something like that.
Even then, even if we're not, I guess I'm not emphasizing as much as I should be lookouts, so that's a good point. Definitely keep a lookout. You don't necessarily have to go to the extent where you're drastically raising each wing, but it is very, very, very important for you to be situationally aware with other people in the circuit. That comes with talking about or listening to other people's radio calls, not just yours, but listen to, okay, where's Bravo Romeo Oscar coming from? Well, they departed and they wanted to come back because they had issues with the radio, so they might catch up ahead of us. And also keeping that scan going, because when Tower tells us that we're number 2, they expect us to find that traffic and for us to follow that traffic. There have been a lot of instances where people would say, okay, we're number 2, wouldn't look for traffic, and they would end up cutting the other guy off. And that's a very serious no-no.
Yeah.
So like I said, you don't have to over-exaggerate the lookouts, but it's very important to keep a vigilant eye and try to be as situationally aware as you can.
Okay, I'm going to do the 7-up check.
Good.
Fuel selector on, mixture fully rich, carb hot. Mags in both, prime locked.
Quebec November Foxtrot, number 1, runway 04.
Quebec November Foxtrot.
Quebec November Foxtrot, number 1 for runway 04.
I got the call. Okay, check number 104, Quebec November Foxtrot, and we're just going to make this one a full stop here.
Quebec November Foxtrot, clear to land, runway 04.
Clear to land, 04, Quebec November Foxtrot, thanks. So you said what you had to say, but I think it's just because you emphasized Quebec November Foxtrot that you thought you were asking good questions. Alright, so for this one, set yourself up the way you want. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Alright. So, I'm going to start pitching for 65 knots. Sorry, we're pitching for 70 knots. No, 65. And turning to 8. For this one, I would like to do a full flap landing.
Okay.
Because I want to get used to the pitch down approach.
Okay, so keep in consideration how full flaps affect it and how you want to shape the approach. Maybe coming in lower, maybe coming in higher. You figure it out.
Okay. Start adding flaps to 10 stages. And I'm going to start turn to final while adding flaps to 20. Going to add flaps 30. And flaps 40. Oh.
Yeah, we could continue.
Yep.
And we could keep it rolling all the way down to the end.
No braking required.
Oh, here, I'll help you with some braking. Who said Cessna 150s don't have spoilers? Alright, good approach, good approach. And I was looking at the way you're thinking, looking at your scan, what your eyes were doing. Airspeed was pretty good. We got about 5 knots slow.
November Foxtrot, exit Tango, taxi via Tango, monitor Ottawa ground 1219 on the way in.
Here, I got it. Left Tango, and we'll monitor 0.9 on the way in. Have a great evening, Quebec November Foxtrot. He never says it back. I love this controller. I love every controller here. They're all great.
What did he say at the end?
I said have a great night.
No. What did he
Oh, he said taxi off on Tango and monitor 121.9 on the way in.
Oh, okay. So the ground, right?
Exactly. So we could come to a full stop right at the end here and do our post-landing checklist, please.
All right. Up. Post-landing checklist. Transponder to standby. Carb heat on cold. Carb heat in. 1000 RPM. Check. Unnecessary electrics off. We don't have much electric on. Landing light off.
Landing light and strobe too.
And strobe 2. Flaps up. Flaps are up. Time down. Contact ground.
Don't have to do that. He just said monitor 0.9, which we hear everything anyways.
Yeah.
And good, everything's complete.
So we'll bring the plane back to the big white hangar, right?
We'll see what Mr. Marshaller is going to tell us to do, because Andy initially told us if they're gone, bring it to the white hangar. If they're not, it wasn't very clear to me what they wanted to do.
I mean, QNF was parked there when we took it off, when we took it out.
Oh, yeah, so we shall see, because we had 13, so I think they're going to want to put some fuel in anyways.
Oh, he's saying go straight.
Why? We're at 13, it's just going to make... Okay, whatever.
Where should I stop?
Here, I'll take control from here.
You have control. He's gonna take care of the fuel. Board, I guess.
Yep, that's right. lost the hanger, but I also want to make his life a bit easier. Okay. Alright, we can do that shutdown checklist.
Alright, I have control.
Your controls.
Down checklist. ELT check. 1.5. Check completed. Radios and electrics off. Avionics master switch, don't have it. 1000 RPM, check. Dead Mac check. Dead Mac check. Cut off. Oh. Off. Mac